What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Coach Al Futrell YouTube channel. You already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and turn on that notification bell. Today, I'm going to tell you guys a short story, a cautionary tale that could happen to anybody, so pay attention and follow along. Have you ever heard the term of someone being tricked out of their spot? Well, that's what today's video is about. Person A, person B, person C, and person D. Person C and person D, they're getting in the ear of person B, telling them all these false narratives, all these lies, all this crazy shit about person A. Person A has person B's best interests at heart. So person A is really trying to help person B out. Person A is lining things up for person B. Person A has a $1 million life insurance policy, and they made person B the beneficiary of that policy. Person B had no idea that that was even the case. Person A had things lined up where they were going to help person B with their overall credit worthiness, all their trade lines. So person A was opening up the avenue to where person B would have had over $250,000 in available credit lines tied into their credit profile, which could have helped person B because person B is trying to launch a business. They're trying to gain some security, become a little more financially stable. So person A has these things set up for person B, and person B is too busy listening to person C and D. So inevitably what happened was person C and D literally tricked person B out of a spot that rightfully would have been theirs had person B just ignored all the shit talking that was coming from person C and person D. Now, I know all these alphabets, the letters, it's throwing you guys for a loop, so just pay attention. Let me give you guys that recap. Person A had person B's best interests at heart, and person A was lining things up for person B to gain security, become more financially stable, literally had their name on a life insurance policy that was $1 million. Now, person B ends up listening to all this shit person C and D were saying about person A, to the point where person A and B, they end up falling out. Now, person A and person B fall out. Now, person B loses access to all of these things that person A had set up for him. Now, not only was it the $1 million life insurance policy, not only was it the well over $250,000 in available credit line, person A also had their business tied up with person B, where they were going to be the beneficiary of the assets of the business. So person A is not doing anything sneaky. Person A is setting all these things up for person B, so that way person B would have some more security moving down the line as they navigate life. But person B got too caught up into listening to person C and person D, and now person A and person B, they fell out, and that's pretty much the end of the story. I know that was a lot of A, B, C, D, but hopefully you followed along and you caught the gist of the story. Now, how that affects someone's overall health and well-being, person B, who knows what ended up happening to them in the long run, but person B, they could have been well off. They would have had their name tied in on that $1 million life insurance policy. Person B could have used that $250,000 credit line, and they could have leveraged that to grow their business or expand and do other things. Their name being tied into the business, that would have been more assets that they would have been tied to. So as far as that security as person B is navigating through life that they may or may not have anymore, that could affect them down the line. So let's say that same person, person B, let's say they get into a rut down the line, they become financially unstable. Now they don't have person A to lean on and help them. God forbid something happened to person A, but let's say something were to happen and person B was tied up on that life insurance policy and they needed the funds that would have come from that benefit to help them maintain and navigate life. So overall, person B, they got tricked out of a spot that was rightfully theirs by person C and D talking shit about person A. And that's just a cautionary tale. That's a lesson. So your overall health and well-being can be affected if you allow outside people to get in your ear and trick you out of a spot that's rightfully yours. So the real gist of the story is you have to be careful listening to people. You know, not everyone has your best interests. Sometimes people have their own interests at heart and they don't really give a fuck what happens to you as long as they get what they want on the back end and you suffer on the front end and on the back end. So be careful listening to people. I'm not saying don't take advice from people. I'm not saying that there aren't people who are going to have your best interests at heart. Hopefully you got some good people in your life and they do, but you do have to be cautious because this could happen to everybody. Never let someone trick you out of your spot. So you got to weed out the noise and understand that everybody is not for you. So that's that cautionary tale there. You know, someone got tricked out of their spot listening to someone else who didn't want them in that spot. And little did that person know, that person that got tricked out of their spot, that same person that C and D were talking shit about had all these great things lined up for them and they got none of it. It's crazy. Guys, again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.